guys, I'd like to welcome you to another installment of the Step Up Your Game video series. In this video we're going to talk a little bit about general keyboard setup and character mobility in group, small man, and solo settings. Just to do a quick introduction about myself, my name is Obelisk and I'm a Knight for the Dark Age of Camelot. I've been playing the game since around 2002 or 2003, at which point I made a paladin on the Galahad server, which later became part of the Devon cluster. And on that paladin, I mainly soloed, did a little bit of small man play. Eventually, leveled up a bunch of other characters across all three realms and broke into the group scene. Did quite a lot of mainland grouping as well as 8v8, all while maintaining presence in the solo and small man playstyle. Over the last couple of years, I have favored the small man playstyle, mainly duoing and trioing with a friend. And now that you guys know a little bit more about me, let's go ahead and hop right into the video. Now, in order to start making any changes in your keyboard settings, you will need to type /keyboard. This will pull up your keyboard configuration menu. Once this is pulled up, you can go through your settings, start making any necessary changes. Now, when I created my current keyboard configuration, I spent a lot of time and thought trying to develop the most efficient keyboard setup I could for myself. Everything's going to be down to user preference, but I can maybe give you some tips about things you can do to make your setup more efficient. Now, the key to keyboard configuration efficiency comes down to keyboard real estate. You have very limited real estate on your keyboard for keybinds and your essential buttons, so you want to make them fit as efficiently as possible. You want to open yourself up to as many keybind possibilities as you can, all while keeping necessary buttons like sprint, stick, face, and your movement keys as close as possible. Now, in order to do this, it takes a little bit of thought. I'm going to go ahead and just share my keyboard setup with you quickly and explain why I do everything, and I'll tell you what keybinds it opens up for me to use. I'm going to show you guys where I have all my essential keys bound. I'm not really going to cover buttons like sit, torch, reply, look up, look down, things like that, more quality of life keys. Buttons like that should probably just be bound to a less useful part of your keyboard, something you're never really going to need to use in a fight. You want to save all the good buttons for your important abilities. So let's get into where I have my important abilities, or buttons bound, sorry. We'll start with my movement keys. My move forward button is a very important key for me. It's actually not a key on my keyboard. It's I use my left and right click at the same time on my mouse. I'll use that for just a millisecond and then I'll immediately hit auto run. I'll explain that more in a little bit. The next key is move backwards. It's a very good key for me when I'm soloing or small manning or just trying to land positionals in groups sometimes. I have it set as F. It's a pretty convenient key, close to the left side of the keyboard where my hand normally rests. Turn left and right, I use my mouse for that, so we won't set those right now. My strafe left is G, my strafe right is H. Those are kind of in the middle of my keyboard, kind of out of the way, but still pretty accessible if I need to use them. They're not something I use often, but they're there if I need to. My jump key is A, where it's always been for me. It's a convenient key for me. I like to jump a lot, so I like having it near. Dive, Z is where it came from me as well. It's just something that I like having there. Kind of goes well with the jump button, which also is the up button when you're in water. So during water fights, they're nice to have those right there. My run lock, which I said earlier is something that's very important to me. I have that set to delete, which is then remapped to my mouse. I use a Logitech G600, which is similar to the Razer Naga. It has 12 buttons on the side, so I have a lot of my buttons remapped to my mouse. So that's a very good thing. It saves a lot of work on your keyboard hand, kind of delegates some of the work to your mouse hand, more specifically your thumb, so that's great. My sprint, very important key, tilde. It's over there, good spot, and use it on every type of class, so it's great. Stick I have set to end, face I have set to home. Those are then remapped just like my run lock to my mouse, so those are on the side of my mouse there. It just saves work on my keyboard hand, having those bound on my mouse. Right hand is F9, two hand is F10. I normally keybind those, but I just have those set to there. Not a big deal, but I just normally keybind them elsewhere, depending on what I'm playing. And attack mode is V, just so I can put my weapons away quickly to pop a potion or not break CC. Now going into the targeting section of the keyboard. Nearest enemy, a very important key for me is Tab. It's a good way to target people. Clicking them is very nice, but sometimes if you can swing it, just hit tab and you just target them. It's great. Last attacker, a very good key, shift tab. If you're getting shot or nukes, you don't have that person targeted, you can hit shift tab really fast, instantly target them. You can throw out an interrupt very quickly with that. It's great when you're on an offensive tank with instant interrupts. Love using that. Nearest friend has its uses, very limited uses, but I have it set as control tab. Ground target is shift G. Normally have those Keybound, but if I need to set a ground target on the fly, I use that. On my Reaver, I'll normally just have my ground targets macroed for my TWIF, like such. So it's just easier to macro them there usually. Target group members keybinding. These are something that are underused. A lot of people struggle to find space on their keyboard. Fortunately for me, I have enough space on mine, so I have them bound to Alt-Q, W-E-R, A-S-D-F, as you see here. It's a great way to target someone, especially if you're on a support. Super fast, obviously clicking people takes a little longer because you have to move your mouse and click them on your group healer helper. This just makes it a little bit faster, pretty accurate. If you can find the space for them, it's great. Even for bodyguard type tanks where you can quickly target a group member and bodyguard them instead of having to click on them. Moving on, everything in the interaction is really not important, so I'll bind those to a less useful spot on your keyboard. Reset camera, very important. Have that bound to one of my brackets, which is then rebound to my mouse. Mouse look, that's how I turn. Have that set to right mouse. I just hold it down and I move my mouse. It'll spin my character around. If you don't move like this, I suggest swapping over to this. Keyboard turning is very, very slow and inefficient, whereas mouse turning is the fastest way to move your character. Panning goes along the same lines. It's my middle mouse button. I hold my middle mouse down and I pan around like this. Great way to pan. Whether you have it set to left click or middle mouse, it doesn't really matter. You need to be mouse panning instead of key panning. Going through all this chat stuff's kind of, like I said, less useful. And yeah, that about wraps up all the key important buttons that you need to have bound. Okay, I'm going to do a quick recap of my keyboard configuration using my webcam to show you where everything is, as well as show you what keybinds that opens up for me. So I'm going to start with the buttons on my mouse. In order to move forward and break stick and face, like I said earlier, I press my left and right click button at the same time. I only do that for a millisecond, and then I'll immediately hit my auto run button. Now my auto run button's on the side of my mouse. It's right here. So I'll just break stick and face using that and then instantly hit that. It's pretty quick for me. So it works out. Now my stick and face are also on my mouse, as I said earlier. Right here is my face and right here is my stick. How I have my thumb normally positioned is like this. So the tip of my thumb's always around stick and face, so I can stick and face quickly if I need to. And the base of my thumb back here is always resting on my auto run button. Now my reset camera is also on my mouse, and that's right there, directly above my auto run button. So in order to do that, I'll just kind of roll my thumb over like that and hit that. Now on the top of my mouse, my right click button, I'll hold it down and I'll turn. As you can see like that. Sorry, I'm using the bottom of my finger to turn, so it's kind of hard. And my mouse pan, I'll just hold down my middle mouse button and pan like that. That wraps it up for my mouse as far as keyboard configuration buttons go. I do have a lot of keybinds on my mouse as well, but I'll get to those later on. Now moving to my keyboard, we'll start with my backup key, which is F right here. My hand always rests right here with my pointer finger around the F button, not necessarily on the F button, but around it, easy to hit. My strafe keys are also G and H, so they're easy to hit. I'll hit those with my pointer fingers. They're kind of out of the way, but they're very, very accessible if I need them. I don't use them often though. And now my sprint button, which is important, is tilde right here. So that's just an easy click with usually my ring finger and whatever I can use to hit it. My jump is going to be A. I'll hit that with my pinky or my ring finger as well. Tab's nearest enemy right there. Easily hit that with my ring finger. Z is dive right there, just under A. So yeah, I think that about wraps it up for all my keyboard configuration buttons on my keyboard. So I'll go ahead and get into what keybinds that opens up. Now to start off with, I have two different types of keybinds.
single stroke keybinds and modified keybinds. And what I mean by single stroke keybind is I press one button and it performs the action. Whereas modified keybinds, I have to press two buttons. I use shift essentially as my modifier, and Q is my keybind. So it's Q being modified by shift. So it's a modified keybind. Obviously, single stroke keybinds are the easiest to hit off. You only have to hit as one key, but modified keybinds are very easy and very good as well. So I have about 20 single stroke keybinds with my current setup. I'll go through those now. Starting with the top of the keyboard, these F1, F2, F3, F4, those are all easy to hit for me. And then I go down to my number bar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't normally go to 6. That's normally my purge button, which is keybound somewhere else. Now going down to the start of the letters, I use Q, W, E, R, T, and sometimes Y, not often, but if I have to, it's there. I also use S, D, X, C, and my last keybind is space. So that's about 20 if I did my math right. And I also have about 20 modified buttons as well. And you can just Shift Q, Shift W, Shift E, Shift R, ASD, Shift anything is a good bind. Obviously for your second quick bar, Alt 1, 2, 3, 4, those are all good keybinds. Control Q, W, E, R, T, Y, stuff like that. Those are easy to hit and very useful. And it allows you to keep your hand around this area and have tons of open buttons to keybind. And like I said earlier, I do have some bindable space on my mouse. We'll start with that. If you can see 7, 8, 9, 10 on my main bar, those are down there. Those are my pulses on my reverb. I don't actually hit those with my keyboard, but I do have 7, 8, 9, 10 remapped to my mouse. So 7, 8, 9, and 10 are right there. Those are easy for me to hit. I'll just sort of quickly do that. I don't normally put super important buttons there, buttons I'll have to spam, just maybe pulses or RAs or something is what I'll use there. Also have this strip of buttons right here, these three, and on reverb they just swap weapons to my the weapon on my back and my right hand weapon, and this button right here is just a weapon style. And I also have this keybind as well. So I have about 8 keybinds on my mouse in addition to stick face, auto run, and reset camera, as well as about 40, 45 keybinds around this area on my keyboard. So, it's probably about 50 or so keybinds available to you easily. So, there's a lot of space on the keyboard for you. And if you need more keybinds than that, and you don't like using your key targeting buttons like Alt, Q, W, E, R, T, stuff like that, like I use for my group members, you can just remove those and then use Alt binds as well, like Alt, Q, W, E, R. Open some 8 more binds for you there. So if you want to alter your setup, maybe take some tips from me, maybe take a thing or two here from my keyboard setup and implement them into yours, I suggest do it. Adjusting to a new keyboard setup is always going to be rough at first, but all it takes is a little bit of patience and time, and you'll be back to where you are in no time. You'll be hopefully better than you were. A more efficient keyboard setup always helps. So just take the time and readjust to your new setup. Even changing one key, like your face key, could be difficult, but it just takes a little bit of time and patience, so don't let that scare you. I'm going to go ahead and get into the character control portion of this video. Obviously, keyboard configuration plays a big role in overall character control. I'm going to share with you some tips for solo and small man character control. Kuji has already released a video in the Stepping Up Your Game series for group character control, so check that out as well. One of the most important things you can do in a tank that has any sort of defense is to always keep people in your frontal arc. Now obviously most tanks can't block, parry, or evade people behind them to their side, so keeping people in front of you means you get to take advantage of your defenses. Now this is sometimes more difficult than it sounds, since a lot of players like to run around a lot during a fight, going for side stuns, back stuns, and just running through you in order to hit you behind where your defenses are non-existent. One way to counter this is to simply back up. Now sometimes you have to turn with your opponent by backing up and using your mouse to turn left or right to keep people in front of you, but it's a pretty simple technique. Now another big thing in solo play is going for positional styles, even when your opponent is not stunned. And you can do this by essentially running through them a lot. There are various techniques and ways to do it. I'll show you a couple. I'm going to just use my bot and have it stuck to me to show you how easy it is to land side and back styles on a target that is simply slash sticking you. Okay, I'm in a realm duel with my bot. I'm just going to have him stick me, as you can see here. I'm going to be using my side style, which is called Typin. It looks like this. You can see me failing it here. Although when I land it, it'll show a snare effect over his head, so you'll know when I land it, and you'll also have the obviously style effects. So I'm just going to show you how easy it is to land side styles on a target that's stuck to you, and how vulnerable you can be if you simply just slash stick your opponent and if they know how to properly maneuver. So okay, let's just get into it. As you can see there, I just easily ran through him and side stunned him. Now it doesn't work for me every time. Sometimes I mess up, sometimes I just underestimate my timing, or misestimate. But you can see here, it's not very hard. The way I do it essentially is I run at an angle, use my left and right click to go to the side, and as soon as I'm at the side, I stick them. It usually takes them a second or two to follow me, as you can see here. It takes them a second to turn, and in that time I can normally get a side style off, like that. I'll do it again on the other side. That's pretty easy. Now another technique I like to use when I'm going for back styles is what I'll show you here. It's pretty simple to do. You essentially just run through, then back up, and that leaves you a couple of moments to land your back style. I'll show you it here. It's not something I land every time, but I'd imagine most of the time it lands successfully for me. But yeah, here, just watch closely. As you can see, I simply just ran through him, and then I backed up, and when I was in the middle of backing up, almost on top of him, that's when I hit my style. I landed my back stun, which is paralyzed. I'll show you again with my back snare. This is what the style looks like. You'll be able to tell when it lands with the snare effect. See, like that? Pretty simple. It just takes a little bit of practice, just like the side styles. And as always guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also head over to Twitch and subscribe to the official DAOC Twitch channel. If you'd like to play Dark Age, you can get 14 days for free by going to darkageofcamelot.com. Thanks guys, and enjoy.